What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So it is that time again, that time of year where we are coming up on the end of the counting period for the Memorial Dragonstones. Really exciting stuff, especially because we are in a new era of Dokkan, with the global and JP versions being synced up. We have not yet experienced this part of the year post-sync. So there are still a lot of, things that are shifting around with the release schedules, and certain celebrations that no longer exist are happening at different times of the year. So this was another one of those things that remained to be seen, right? Because they have kind of effectively moved around, some of the major celebrations, including kind of reworking the way that the worldwide download celebration goes, with the fact that there's no global anniversary to celebrate anymore. They've kind of, obviously we're experiencing right now what they have done with that with the Global Dokkan campaign. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this little rubric here that they released when they were talking about the sync a little earlier in the year. So this kind of shows us what their plan is with these new celebrations. So typically what would happen is because the Tanabata time slot normally took place during the global anniversary, those things were happening at the same time. But we don't have the global anniversary anymore. They have now turned that into the Global Dokkan campaign in a combination with the worldwide celebration. We now have the Global Dokkan campaign, so they basically moved the worldwide celebration earlier in the year in order to be able to combine it with this so that both versions could celebrate it at the same time. Makes sense. But typically what would happen is we would get those memorial stones for the worldwide download celebration. So the fact that the worldwide download celebration had been kind of merged with another campaign and redone, and we didn't get those memorial stones for this celebration, I was a little bit worried that they were going to kind of discontinue that as a theme and not do it anymore, right? But it would appear that whatever the Tanabata celebration is being replaced with, because remember, Tanabata is a specific holiday in Japan, so because they're moving the time slot, they can't call it the Tanabata celebration anymore. It's kind of like moving the Christmas celebration to a different part of the year. Obviously wouldn't work for very obvious reasons. So yeah, with whatever this new campaign is, it is nice to know that we can rest easy, and they are still going to be honoring the Memorial Dragonstone thing. So this is the active period that we're looking at here. It was from August 20th, 2024, all the way until the 21st here, so coming up in just a couple of days. Don't panic, though. You got your entire year's worth of stones stacked up on there, so I wouldn't be recommending to players to, penny pinch and spend as much as you can in these next few days. It's probably fine. I would say just go ahead and hang on to what you've got. But yeah, so just so that you know, the end of the counting period for the collection for this, year of Memorial Dragonstones will be ending on the 21st here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the banners from last year. So again, because things are changing, the reason that I wanted to highlight that this change is happening is because it is very possible that they do something different that they haven't done before, right, with these Memorial Dragonstones. So what we're used to seeing is this, right? There will be a massive banner that's got all of the previous Dokkan Fests on it, up to a point, which again, we'll talk about where that cutoff point is in a second here. But yeah, so all of the previous Dokkan Fests, and now since there have been so many over the years, I believe for the past 2 years now, they have released 2 banners side by side, so they'll split it into, down into like a half and half pool. So if you are kind of chasing some specific units, you have a little bit better of a chance to get what you're looking for by honing in on one specific banner or the other. As opposed to just having all, hundreds of these on one banner. It would be ridiculous to summon on, right? So, yeah, they have split them in 2, but all of the previous units are there. It basically goes back to, whatever was before the anniversary. From the previous year, or from earlier in the year. So, let's go ahead and look at this. Oh, okay, so before we talk about that actual part, I did want to mention it is possible that they don't do this at all. It's possible that they make an entirely new system out of this thing, right? I guess in the tweet, did they... Yeah, no, okay, so they don't use any specific language in here. Oh, wait, it does say. Get 1 treasure item for every 50 Dragonstones used. Okay, so that implies we are going to be seeing the same amount of, ticket distribution. the same way as normal, because this is what we're used to seeing, right? The 50 stones for, or, you know, for each 50 stones spent, you get one of the tickets, or I guess in this case, one of the stones. But we don't know if they're going to continue on with this trend of having all of the previous Dokkan Fests available on these gigantic pool of summoning banners. We don't know. Right? It's possible with even more units added, maybe they would split it even further and give us like 4 banners and do 2 banners that are all the super types split, and then 2 banners that are all the extreme types split, or something like that, right? Like, it's possible. It's also possible that they give us some entirely new type of system that doesn't consist of summoning, that's more about just buying units in the shop. They could rework some of these numbers. We don't really know what's going to happen, right? So all we can do is just kind of assume that this system is going to be a copy-paste and be the exact same as we're used to seeing it. If that is the case, let's go ahead and look at the next step, which is which units are going to be available on these banners. So what I've done here is I've taken the liberty of grabbing all of the newest Dokkan Fests. Now, it's so literally in-game and on all of these websites, there is no way to just view a list of all of the Dokkan Fests in order. If you do know of a Dokkan information site that has that feature, please let me know what it is, because I would absolutely love to have access to that. So what I was forced to do here is go on Dokkan Info, use the My Box feature, and then just manually select the units that I wanted to have. So basically like a tag sort, but on this website. So what I did was I took all of the most recent Dokkan Fests. They are listed in the order of release here, starting at the oldest being Fat Boo, and then the newest being Pow. So yeah, I've taken all these and put them in order just to give you an idea of what units are not going to be available on these banners. So, and we take a look back here. These banners go all the way up to... So now the Golden Week characters are the ones that are featured as the headliners on here, but they're not actually the most recent units on the banner. If we come down here and look at the featured pool, you can see there are 2 units that came out after, because this was April, and then this was start of May, and this was end of May. So yeah, it goes all the way up to the units that have released at the end of May. I believe we can show that here. Yeah, so he released May 31st. Now, we do kind of have to ignore the global timeline here. This is another thing that I wanted to specify here that could end up being a little bit funky. So, previously, these banners were different. Even though they took place in a worldwide download celebration, which was shared between both versions of the game, these banners releasing at the same minute would still be different, because the JP timeline was ahead for all that time. So it would be unfair if the exact same featured pool was available, and then Global is technically getting some units returning 6 months earlier than JP would have, right? It just wouldn't be it would be really, really skewed in favor of the Global side of things, right? So they did change up, like, you know, where the featured unit list like stopped and started, but now that we're post-sync, it's kind of confusing to know where they're going to stop that. If they're going to stop it at the same point on both Global and JP, or if these banners are still going to be skewed because technically we haven't been synced for an entire year. So for instance, what it's looking like here, so because we had Turles be the end of May in 2023, and he was the most recent one on the banner. Now it's looking like Master Roshi, who, well, I suppose Master Roshi, or maybe before him, would have been Goku Black. So either one of them potentially could be the most recent one on the banner. But again, if you see, there's a difference in the release schedule here for these units, right? So I'm curious to know if they will just say screw it and make them synced up and make them exactly the same, or if Global is still, again, going to get penalized for having been behind. Because these units here, even though we're synced up now, these units released before the sync happened, right? So there is still a huge disparity between when these units were released on Global and JP. And in fact, this is a little bit of a funky one, because this Rosé was actually a Global first. So if anything, that's actually really funny. Okay, so it's like, if they were to make it go up to Master Roshi, then that means, yeah, if it goes up to Master Roshi, then that means that also he would be included on here. Both of them would be included, and then that means that Global would be getting a bit of a W, getting Master Roshi back earlier than expected, because he hadn't been out for an entire, like, the entire length of time he needed to be out to return on this banner. And then JP would be getting the exact same treatment with this, because they received Goku Black a little bit later, but they would still be getting him returning. So I feel like that's a fair trade, honestly. And then everything else would be fair game for both versions of the starting at the Golden Week units, because these ones are probably going to be the ones that are highlighted, headlining the banner, the same way as these Golden Week units from the 23rd World Tournament from the year before. So yeah, that's about where we can expect things to go. So yeah, somewhere it's looking a little bit wishy-washy in this down at the bottom of this list, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that everything from AGL Vegeta all the way up to current will 100% not be available on these banners. So if you're looking to hunt any of these units, sorry to tell you now, they're definitely not going to be there. These are all way too new. But yeah, and then obviously LRs would not be included as well. Actually, I don't remember if they included Yellow Coin LRs. Because I know for the longest time it was just Dokkan Fest, but I know that they over time have found a lot more spaces to kind of sneak in a lot of the older like Yellow Coin LRs and things like that. But yeah, it doesn't look like they do. Okay, so these ones are limited strictly to the Dokkan Fest. Yeah, so there would be no Yellow Coin LRs to consider or anything either. Okay, yeah, so that's basically, guess that's everything. What else do we have here? Okay, so I guess the last thing that we can talk about to kind of finish up the video here, it's not going to be super relevant, and I'm going to go over this again when we do get the new stones dropped. But I figure we could also talk about just from the specifics of my account. Since I've been AWOL for a few months here, I might as well give you guys, as many updates as I can in these upcoming videos I'm posting. So I am expecting very, very few stones this year. So if we go ahead and pull up my YouTube video from last year, we can see it was 11 months ago. The worldwide celebration last August. I got 376 stones. So actually, let me pull up my calculator really quick here, and then we can do some quick maths. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So 376 times 50 stones. That means I spent 18,000 stones that year. Okay. Interesting. If you consider they only give out a couple thousand for free, that's actually a lot of stones spent. Like a lot of money spent on stones. Okay, and then, so that is from 2024. And then if we look at 2023, I didn't actually make a video for this. I wasn't recording YouTube around the time, but I did make sure to get a tweet of it. So we can see in 2023, I had 556. So we'll multiply that by 50 and see that was 27,000 stones. That is my highest stone count ever. That is, for a year, like this many memorial stones, that's insane. I spent way too many stones on the game in that year. This year, based on all of that, 376, I'm expecting less than 300. Because you're going to get about 150, I think. I mean, let's see, what's 150 times... Yeah, 7,500. This seems about accurate for, like, the amount of free-to-play stones they give out in a given year, right? So if you've just been playing the game, you log in every single day, you've cleared all the missions, all the content, all the rewards, you've gotten, you're probably going to have about 150 of these memorial stones, right? Now, I have spent some on the game here and there, but here's the thing. Most of the spending that I've done in this last year was on tickets, because there have been so many good, like, ticket packs to buy things from, and because I haven't been wailing out on the game and spending, like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on every single banner. Oftentimes what happens is I'll spend on the tickets. If I don't get anything on the tickets, I'll just be done with it. And you don't get any credit for that here, because it has to be actually Dragon Stones spent. So any of the ticket summons that you do, even if you spent money on the game to get those tickets, you're not actually getting access to this, like, reward here, right? But considering that, on top of that, I have also spent stones here and there. There were a couple of different celebrations where I really wanted the unit. So I went, and kind of balled out a little bit. Actually, we could probably go back to this, and this will give us a good idea here. So the AGL Kid Goku, I definitely spent some on. The Daima celebration here, I definitely spent some on. And then obviously this goes back much further, because there would have been, like, the worldwide download celebration and the anniversary that I would have spent definitely a good chunk on. So those could kind of be considered that are going to add to my stone count. But yeah, for the most part, it's not going to be like nearly as high as these. I would still say it's definitely going to be below this 376 here. I would be surprised if it was higher, to be honest with you. So I'm expecting less than 300. My guess is like 250. 250 is my guess of where I'll be at. I'll be satisfied with that. And I'm kind of happy to see this number going down because it means I'm being successful in spending less money on this game. So that is really, really a good thing. So yeah, we'll have to wait a little bit longer. Like I said, we still have about a week here. It's the 15th now at the time of recording this. We'll have until the 21st when this calculation period ends, and then we'll have to wait a week or so for them to actually calculate and the celebration to begin. And then a few days after this new celebration begins is when we can expect to see these released into our gift box, and then we'll be able to know exactly how many stones we've got for this year. So let me know your guys' predictions in the comments below. Predictions about anything, because all of this is up in the air right now. We really don't know what's going to happen, right? So let me know predictions about the way that these memorial stones are going to be used. Do you think that this system is going to be exactly the same as before? Let me know your predictions of how many stones you think you're going to get comparative to what you've gotten before, and then just predictions about maybe what you think is going to be going on with this celebration, since it's no longer the worldwide celebration, but some new type of campaign that we have to look forward to here. So yeah, I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!